There was nothing else at all in the whole world but football.
Hi guys, welcome to the Triple F. My name's Simon Price and welcome to another episode of the Magic of, where we provide in-depth profiles on clubs from all over the world. We like to cover a whole range of clubs, from those with a rich history to those with new beginnings, massive clubs with international support to smaller clubs with a modest yet equally passionate fan base, and clubs you've probably heard of to the ones that you likely haven't. This episode is all about AJ Auxerre, a football club based in Auxerre, a city or town in the Burgundy region of France. My good friend Oliver, regular co-host of the show, and I more or less randomly chose a French side to cover for the Magic of. We recorded this just over 3 weeks ago, the day after the North London derby, which I, of course, as you'll find out, mentioned during our chat. Oliver thought of 3 French teams to choose from, and we finally decided on Auxerre. We both soon realised the surprising amount of footballing magic and history the club has been the centre of. As you'll find out when listening to our conversation, Auxerre has produced some of the greatest footballers to grace the beautiful game and achieved many other remarkable things along the way. Thank you all very much for listening, and I sincerely hope you enjoy the magic of Auxerre.
Ils réussissent là où tout le monde les attend. Quel qu'en soit l'enjeu, il y a chez eux une rage de vaincre qui les rend plus fougueux. Allez, allez, allez la GIA. Allez, allez, allez la GIA. Allez, allez, allez la GIA. Allez, allez, allez la GIA.
The club, Association de la Jeunesse Auxerroise, was founded in 1905 by the abbot Ernest Abbé Deschamps. At the end of World War II, the club was expelled from its ground. Father Deschamps acquired several pieces of land along the Yonne on the Vaux Road, which later formed the Abbé Deschamps Stadium. During the 1983-84 season, Auxerre claimed their first major notable achievement by finishing third in the first French division. Patrice Garande finished top scorer with 21 goals. A few weeks later, Garande won the gold medal at the Olympics in Los Angeles with the French Olympic football team, while other Auxerre players Joel Butt and Jean-Marc Ferreri were also part of the victorious French team at Euro 1984. That summer, Auxerre recruited Michel Ngom from Paris Saint-Germain. During pre-season, he scored 5 goals in 10 games. On the last weekend before the start of the season, he visited his former teammates in Paris. He died following a traffic accident on 12th of August 1984. To pay tribute, one of the stands at Abbé Deschamps bears his name. The 1984-85 season saw Auxerre in European competition for the first time in its history by participating in the UEFA Cup, albeit with an unfavourable first round draw against Sporting Lisbon. On the 19th of September 1984 at Estadio José Alvalade, AJA took its bow in European football with a 2-0 defeat to the Portuguese Giants. The return leg back at the Abbé Deschamps Stadium took place on 3rd of October 1984. AJA managed to retrieve the 2-goal deficit with a double by Andrzej Szarmacz, but eventually succumbed with 2 goals in extra time. However, by virtue of the victory of Monaco in the Coupe de France, AJA also qualified for the UEFA Cup the year after. During the 95-96 season, it was the unfancied AJ Auxerre that claimed the Ligue 1 title, guided by France's answer to Sir Alex Ferguson, Guy Roux. It was a league littered with big stars. Sonny Anderson scored 21 goals for Monaco, Sylvain Wiltord was impressing for Stade Rennais, and PSG had the likes of Rai and Yuri Zorkaev. However, it wasn't enough to stop little Auxerre. Only 2 players in their squad scored more than 10 league goals, emphasising that the success was based more on teamwork, a togetherness, and the legendary man management from Roux. In what was actually his second of 3 spells at the club, he stayed in charge for an unprecedented 36 years, from 1964 to 2000. His introduction to the club was as bizarre as they come. He arrived at the club in 1961 to play in a friendly against Crewe Alexandra. With the English side struggling with injuries, they were looking for a translator to ask Auxerre to loan them some players. Roux stepped in, played against the French side, and President Jean Garneau offered to sign him up. Roux wanted to be player-coach, but Garneau was reluctant due to his lack of experience. The future coach would lay out a 6-page letter of his ideas of how to run the club and manage the team, and eventually they accepted due to the fact he was the cheapest option available. Roux had to briefly leave his position at the club to undertake his military service, but returned in 1964 and began to build the team that would win the league 32 years later. 6 years after taking up the position, they won promotion to the 3rd division from the regional competition. After winning promotions in 1974 and 1980, Auxerre were finally in the top flight. Their first trophy was the Coupe de France in 1994, beating Montpellier 3-0 at the Parc des Princes. Going into the 1995-96 season, Roux' side had to find a way to close the 10-point gap from FC Nantes. Changes were made. Rafael Guerrero, Patrick Vieira and Gerald Baticlet all left, and in came Laurent Blanc, Abdelhafid Tasfoal and Stéphane Guivache. It wasn't a classic season by any means, with Auxerre losing 10 out of 38 games. PSG, Monaco, Metz and Lyon all lost fewer games, but no one picked up as many victories as the Burgundy club. They avoided draws, just 6 all season, with the 3 teams below them all drawing 11. No one scored more goals, with 66, and only Metz conceded the same. It was a perfect storm. Key to the win was the ability to spread the goals around the game, keep a consistent side and not lose points to their rivals. At home they lost to Guingamp, Lille, Lyon and Monaco, but won away at Metz, Nantes and PSG. The Parisians led the table for large parts of the season. During game week 33, PSG lost 3-2 to Metz, and doubles from Corentin Martin and Sabri Lamouchi fired Auxerre into a 4-0 victory over Lille, which put them at the top of Ligue 1. They of course would hold on until the last day. Martin would score 13 goals in all competitions from midfield. His style, ability and class on the pitch would see him likened to the great Michel Platini, although Coco didn't quite reach the same level. On the 13th of May 2012, Auxerre's 32-year stay in the top division came to an end after a 3-0 away defeat at the hands of Marseille. The following season, Auxerre finished a disappointing 9th along with a goal difference of -2. The next season was no better for AJA after they finished a lowly 16th position. Although not resulting in promotion, the 2014-15 Ligue 2 season was better for the Burgundy-based side as they finished 9th in Ligue 2 and finished runners-up in the 2015 Coupe de France final after losing to Paris Saint-Germain at the Stade de France in front of an attendance of 80,000. The 2018-19 season was Auxerre's 7th consecutive in Ligue 2. In the 2020-21 Ligue 2, the Auxerrois would achieve their best finish in the second tier since their relegation with a 6th place finish. They currently sit 5th in Ligue 2 under manager Jean-Marc Furlan, with high hopes rather than real expectation of gaining promotion into the top flight.
So, my man, Auxerre. I'm going with that pronunciation. I'm not entirely sure if it's the right pronunciation. I perhaps should have looked at one of those sort of Wikipedia audio bites that gives you what the actual pronunciation is. But yeah, I'm going with Auxerre. Sounds French.
I'm going to go with Auxerre.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's how you say it. I don't know why.
Yeah. I mean, really either of us could be right or completely wrong.
I actually think I did check this, but because we initially talked about this some time ago, and I feel like I looked it up immediately, but I'm not sure if I just looked up some names or something.
I'm pretty sure either of us are close anyway, so but would be cool. When it comes to French, I mean, how much did you listen back in the school during French lessons? Because I didn't really pay much attention. I didn't enjoy French.
I was lucky that we went on holiday a couple of times when I was little to France, and I know that my mum would always encourage us to try and use some French. And in fact, if I'm honest, it's only those very basic things that are sort of stuck in my head. Je m'appelle Oliver, tu as quel âge, un pain au chocolat s'il vous plaît. It's just those really basic things that are stuck in my head, which annoys me. But I think my memory's just terrible. I don't know what it is.
I feel your pain.
Yeah, I wish I was better at French and Spanish as well, to be honest. I should be better. We should probably be better than we are. Yeah.
Well, that's one thing I kind of hope. I'm not sure how it will work, but maybe Brexit might encourage people to maybe migrate more, and then I'm hoping that English people will have a bit more of a better reputation than they do now of sort of speaking other languages and kind of coming out of their comfort zone a bit more, not going to parts of Spain and opening English pubs like they do most of the time. So it'd be nice for English people to kind of get rid of that stereotype a bit.
I love your positivity.
Why?
Oh, I just thought, it's hard to feel positive.
It will happen, man. It will happen. English people will be so cosmopolitan and so open-armed for the rest of the world. Can you not see it? Sorry, man.
I hope you're right. I do. I hope you're.
I say that with massive irony in my tongue.
I'm normally quite positive. Up until a couple of years ago, I was always quite positive, but I've become cynical after
what's happened,
the last few years.
Ollie, my pure innocent friend.
Yeah, I know.
Tainted soul.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. My soul is tainted.
Oh man. Well, hopefully, talking about Auxerre, we'll hope to untaint it. But what was it that got us on to actually choose to do this Magic of episode of Auxerre? I can't even remember now. I think you came up with 3 names, didn't you? And then we just...
Yeah, I can't remember what the three teams were. I think it was because I know they had... You know what? I can remember them in the 90s always playing in Europe and having sort of players that you recognised. Like I can distinctly remember them playing against Arsenal in, I think it was the Cup Winners' Cup, and they had that white with that pale blue sort of kit.
Yeah,
mostly white with a bit of pale blue trim to it. I think it was. I don't know. They always stuck in my head, and if I'm honest, I happened to see they were in the 2nd division of France, and I was like, oh, what's going on there? I'm in Ligue 2. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I was like, I don't really know much about them. And then you see about, which I'm sure we'll go into a bit later, about Guy Roux, who was in charge for 3 different spells, but over 40 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is insane. I need to know a bit more about this. Like, I need to know more about them. But I remember one of the other teams actually was quite interesting was, and this is terrible, I can't remember what they're actually called, but they were like the most successful team in France up until the 60s, and now they've gone to shit, and I can't remember what they're called, which is terrible.
Yeah,
they're in like non-league or something. It's bizarre.
Thank God. That's what happens to big almighty teams. I think they just go through spells. I think Schalke in Germany are kind of having that now. I mean, I remember the days of Schalke just being a European giant. I never thought I'd see them in the second division of German football, but that's where they are, and they're like mid-table. I know we're only like 4 or 5 games in, but seeing Schalke mid-table of Zweite Bundesliga is like, what? For me, I really can't get my head around that at all.
Yeah, I've noticed you can get their kits online quite cheap though. Well, last season's, their relegation season, you can get their selling them off. Yeah,
I've seen quite a few. I would feel really bad. Like that's just like the ultimate sign of pity, I think, just by purchasing a Schalke kit whilst they're at their lowest. But they are quite nice kits, so I suppose. Just look at it from that.
Yeah, I know. I quite like the Werder Bremen green.
Oh, they're another big one that's falling at the moment as well.
Yeah, can't remember. Haven't they got quite a cool nickname?
The Bremens.
All the German nicknames sound good, don't they? Like,
yeah. German's another language I can't manage at all.
I did a week. I don't even remember when we did that random week at school where
Mr. Bailey,
where we did a different language we hadn't done before. Some people did Japanese.
Ah.
Do you remember that? I did German for 1 week, and it was like, eins, zwei, drei. Yeah, I know that from Lighthouse.
There you are. You're a regular Lederhosen wearer.
Actually, ich bin ein Programmierer. I'm a programmer.
Nice. There you are.
You
move to Berlin right now, mate.
Yeah.
So, did you find out any interesting facts about Auxerre? Auxerre, the place, the city. Is it city? I suppose it's city, isn't it?
I didn't look. I haven't. If I'm honest, I didn't look too much into the city. I concentrated on the football. It's in Burgundy, I believe.
Yeah, that's correct.
The Burgundy region of France.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I didn't really look too much about the city.
I only found out 3 interesting things about Auxerre, and that is the fact that it's the land of snails, beef bourguignon, and Chablis wine.
Oh, we should have. That's what we should have done. If we were really committed, we would have got a bottle of Chablis.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this show would have progressed after having drunk a bottle of Chablis. We'll have to do it one of these days.
Yeah, it'd be fun to see the it might not be deterioration; it could improve things.
Yeah. So today was the sort of decision to choose a French team. We could have had a French wine. Then next one we would have had an Italian wine. Then we choose a South African team. Just all the great wines. Go Australia after that.
Just do a wine tour of the world in football. Simon, somebody's got to do this.
Yeah, actually, maybe that is a hole in the sort of podcast market that we need to.
It's like you pair food with wine. Now you pair football teams with wine. Think about it. People do before all the shit hit the fan. People used to do like football weekends, didn't they? They would go to, quite popular in this country, to go to Germany for the weekend and go to a Bundesliga game. But that could be another thing. You tie in going to see a football team and doing a wine tour. We should become travel agents.
You will have to lead the way, but yeah, I'll be happy.
I'm so glad I know loads about wine.
But yeah, so with Auxerre, those 3 things are the kind of stereotypes of French stereotypes that a lot of people would just sort of immediately pluck out of the air and say, yeah, French people, snails, beef bourguignon, and wine. So
it does make it sound like a very French region of France.
But
was that written by like an English person? Is that the only reason that's those 3 things? I'm sure there must be more to it than that.
I don't know if I can determine the guy's where he's from, but his name's Robin Berner, so it could be anything. Sounds German, so God knows where he's from.
Population's quite small.
Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to mention, because I called it city, but it's not at all. It's a small town, and that's one thing I wanted to talk about. Like how Villarreal, everybody always mentions with Villarreal how they're just such a small population, and for a team that's done so well, and that they won Europa League last year. They're really punching above their weight if you sort of compare the size of the club to the size of the town. Auxerre's even smaller. Like Auxerre is, what's the population? It's like 40,000, I think. Am I right in saying?
I've got it here as 39. Oh, sorry, yeah, I was looking at the wrong. The last time they did a census, it was 35,000.
Yeah.
Although apparently it's on the decline. It's been declining for the last 10 years.
People are going elsewhere for snails, bourguignon and wine, apparently.
Well, maybe they're exporting it a lot now, so people are moving away. I don't stay here for my favourites now.
Yeah.
I can get them in Bordeaux and all sorts.
The next question. What do you think their biggest ever achievement is?
It's a pretty easy one, this. Really, I mean, they did the league and cup double in 1996. And they've won the cup on a few other occasions, 4 or 5, is it occasions?
Yeah.
But that's the closest they've ever come to. I mean, they won the league. It doesn't get much better than that. I think the closest they've ever come, other than that, is finishing 3rd in the top division, which they've spent a lot of time outside the top division. So it has to be that. And a bit of a weird time in French football where Marseille sort of dominated the early 90s, although a bit of match fixing, I think, took away one of their titles. And then it was, I think it was 6 different teams won the league over a 7-year period, and that was one of the years. And in fact, you look at their record that season, it's not because they lost the fewest games, it was actually because they drew the fewest games. I mean, they lost 10 games. It's not, you wouldn't expect a team to necessarily win the league by losing 10 games, but because they only drew 6, of which only one of those was at home. The home record was really good. Lots of clean sheets. So I think it was the joint best defence and the best attack. The best attack overall and the joint best defence in the league. And they won it by, I think it was 4 points. They beat Paris Saint-Germain by the title there.
Yeah.
So it has to be. I mean, it has to be that. I mean, it stands out a mile. You look at where they got relegated 10 years ago. And the highest they finished is 6th, although this season they're actually looking quite good. But that 96 really stands out a mile. And the thing that's quite interesting as well is, looking back, you look at their squad, you can pick out some names, like Laurent Blanc was there. You know, I'm going to butcher names here. Sabri Lamouchi.
Yeah.
I don't know if you pronounce the I on that. And Taribo West.
Yeah.
Stefan Givash, sorry. And the only reason I know him really is because he played at Newcastle and didn't score a goal. I remember he was there for, I think it was a season, or he maybe scored like 1-2 goals, or he didn't score for like half a season or something, and that's the only reason I know him. But that season for Auxerre, it wasn't because those players were excellent, it was because as a team, it was all in the teamwork. They were all in it together. And look, I think forgive me, I can't remember who it was. I'm assuming Stefan Givash was one of them, but only 2 players scored over 10 goals, but the goals were spread out throughout the team.
Yeah.
You know, midfielders and defenders all chipping in with goals. And I can't remember, there was one season a few years ago in the Premier League, and it was I don't know if it was one of the years that Arsenal won the league or something, where goals were really spread out across the team. I don't know if it was that season where, I remember, was it Tony Adams scored a couple of goals in the last game of the season, and everyone in the Arsenal team had scored at least 1 or 2 goals or something like that.
Yeah, I think that was like you say, the one where Tony Adams scored that goal against Everton, the Would You Believe It one with Martin Tyler's commentary. That was, I remember that season being pretty much the whole team ended up scoring. But it was a really good point you bring up about Auxerre, how they really played as a team that year. And just interesting to see they were like the top scorers. But yeah, they weren't like the top scorers weren't in Auxerre, they weren't the top scorers of Ligue 1. They were only sort of 8th and 10th for Ligue 1. But, the fact that they won the league and did that is pretty impressive.
Which players was it?
It was... apologies for pronunciation here, French guys and people that respect the French language, but it was Corentin Martin and Lilian Laslanders. I'm just going to say it English.
And he played in England as well.
Did
Borough?
he?
Was it Borough or... I could picture him in a red kit.
Google search, but I don't recall his name. I can't even say his name, so...
I actually thought it was a midfielder,
He has played for Sunderland. Yeah, he had a couple of seasons at Sunderland.
If you're interested in coming on the show for an Under the Floodlights special to talk about your favourite player or manager, please email the FFF2021@gmail.com or DM the FFF84 on Twitter. All contact details will be in the episode description. Hope you're all keeping safe, and thanks again for listening to the FFF.
But yeah, no, I found it quite interesting, the fact that, you know, their top scorers were only 8th and 10th in Ligue 1. And you know, the amount of goals, but they ended up scoring the most amount of goals in Ligue 1 all campaign, 69.
A lot of clean sheets.
Yeah, I mean, they only conceded 30, so they were the joint highest defensively, which was impressive. But then you look at the likes of who were in the defence, and Alain Gomar, Laurent Blanc, Taribo West. Yeah, pretty impressive. I say Alain Gomar. Was he a defender? I feel like I'm...
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He played for Newcastle as well, didn't he?
Let's have a look.
Yeah, he did. He played for Newcastle.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the thing... Do you know what I found interesting was that was the only season that Laurent Blanc played for them.
Oh, really?
In fact, yeah, he was at Saint Etienne for a couple of years. He went to Barcelona after this season for one season.
Mm.
It became a bit of like a
journeyman
the next few years. Yeah, because he did. Hang on. So he did. In fact, his whole career, he spent 8 years at Montpellier, and then he did a season at Napoli, a season at Nîmes. I'm saying that wrong. 2 seasons at Saint Etienne, 1 at Auxerre, 1 at Barcelona, 2 at Marseille, 2 at Inter, and then 2 at Man United. Which I forget about.
Yeah. I didn't really realise that. I always, for some reason, assumed that Laurent Blanc was like not a one-man club, but he'd been at a club for a long period of time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I never really think about. It's interesting, really. I had absolutely no idea. But apparently, before they signed him, before that season, he was having a bit of a terrible time at Saint Etienne. You know, people's opinion of him wasn't that great. And that season with Auxerre sort of rejuvenated him, like reinvigorated his career a bit.
Mm.
I mean, he went to Barcelona, so it shows you the upward trajectory after that season.
Yeah. Well, to concede only 30 all campaign, and he must have been a big reason why they did that. So yeah, he must have caught their eye, and yeah, that obviously went on to lead him towards having a great career. For France as well, because he was quite old when they won the World Cup in '98. Was he Laurent Blanc? Was he playing for United at that time as well?
No. Was that Man United for him was right at the end of his career in like early 2000s.
Mm.
Although no, he went to Man United in 2001. In fact, in '98 he was in Marseille, and in 2000 he was at Inter Milan.
Mm.
Although I don't know if he played at Euro 2000.
Yeah.
Well, so in '98 he would have been, blimey, he would have been 33.
Yeah. Did he play with Barthez at Marseille?
I remember him kissing him on the head.
Yeah, I know that in France, but did he play with him at Marseille as well?
I don't know, but he definitely did at Man United.
Yeah. Fabien Barthez was at Marseille like 3 different times. Well, 2, because he was there on loan and then signed for them again.
Still counts.
But yeah, I think he would have been. I mean, which year was Fabien Barthez at Auxerre, at Marseille?
Laurent Blanc was 97 to 99.
No, so they wouldn't have been there at the same time. Sorry for the listeners. A lot of this are going to be us asking questions that we don't know the answers to, but hopefully.
Well, this is what's quite. This is why I'm glad we chose them, because didn't really know.
Can educate ourselves
much about them, and I didn't even know Laurent Blanc played for them, to be honest.
No, me neither. And one person I did know who has got one of the greatest names of all time is goalkeeper Fabien Cool.
Well, actually, you look at both keepers, because the other goalie was Lionel Charbonnier.
Nice.
So come on,
it's a great name.
Great names. Yeah.
It's a great name, but I've got to go with Fabien Cool. I mean, if I had to choose out those two names, especially at school, if I was given the option, I'd go with Fabien Cool all day long.
Lionel Charbonnier.
I don't think I could even say that.
I don't think you'd survive. You wouldn't last a day.
But yeah, Fabien Cool. What a name. I'm not even sure if it's said like that. How would that be pronounced?
In my head, it's Fabien. I think you say it more of an E.
Yeah, but I mean, like the last name, Cool. I don't think it's said like cool.
It must be cool.
Is it cool?
How else are you going to say that? Cool. Cool.
Sound like pigeons.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, from everything that I've sort of read about Auxerre, he's gone down as a bit of a court hero, a bit of a legend.
In terms of playing legends, he's probably up there. He's a record appearance holder by nearly 200 appearances.
Yeah,
462 appearances, I think, and the next one was in the low 300s. So that's over 100 extra. But
so that leads me on to the next question, I suppose, and that's going to be, who's the greatest player to ever play for the club?
Well, there's two ways of answering this. So is it the greatest player who became a legend playing for them, or the greatest player who played for them and perhaps became a bit famous somewhere else?
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
just to sort of answer this, we can give more than one names, because I've got three. But yeah, you go for yours.
So players that played for them and made a name for them, I have Fabien Cool there, because it's a phenomenal amount of appearances. In still, you talk about the modern era, but transfers when it started going a bit crazy in the 90s, and he was there for a long time, and we're talking nearly 500 appearances for one club, which in the last 30 years is quite a rarity, really. One player who cropped up, who I didn't know played for them either, was Djibril Cissé, who is their all-time record goal scorer.
Did you not know he played for them?
No. I must have blanked it out of my memory if I did know it at one point, but no, I had no idea.
Because Liverpool signed him from... was it from there, I think?
I think they may have signed him from there, yeah. He was smashing them in, like a goal every other game.
Yeah, he
almost
was
exactly a goal every other game. 89 goals in 167 games I've got here, which is a pretty good record.
Yeah, incredible.
And then I got two players whose names I know well. Yeah, oh God, I want to talk about one of them. I'll talk about him second. Do you remember Basil Bolly?
Yeah.
So, for some reason, I think of him as being a really famous French player playing from the French national team. But my knowledge of him at a club level is non-existent. But he started his career at Auxerre and played I think it was over 200 games for them. But I think in his later career, which now escapes me, where he played, but he played a lot of big teams. And obviously I knew who he was in the 90s, but that was well after he left Auxerre. But that was just from him playing for France. It's very strange. You just have names that stick in your head. When I saw his name, I was like, Basil Bolly. I know him. I don't know why I know him, but I know him.
Yeah.
And the other one is Eric Cantona, who I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah.
An annoying Frenchman who did all right in the. He won the first division with Leeds United actually, and then the Charity Shield the year after that. He won with them.
He was at Leeds for 2 seasons, wasn't he?
Well, it was more like 18 months.
Ah, right, okay.
He joined.
He was there for the maiden Premier League season, wasn't he?
We started it.
Yeah.
He started it, and then we shipped him off to some other team.
Ah, yeah.
Who, I know he won some things there, but then
small team in Manchester.
He retired early because he didn't like them or something. I don't know. And he had quite a good chant as well. But I mean, for me, he's being that I'm from England, and he's massive cultural icon in this country during the 90s, and I know currently the BBC are doing like a Premier League years type thing. I can't remember what it's called. Right now, it's on every week, and you know he's a massive part of it, because I think when a lot of people think of the beginning of the Premier League, he really stands out. I think that he was a super icon at Man United, and I think Alex Ferguson said that he was the final piece to the puzzle that helped them win the league. And, oh, sorry, I feel a bit ill. So for me, it's Fabian Cool. He became a legend at Auxerre, and then Eric Cantona elsewhere. I think so. Those two sort of stand out for me. But you said you got 3 names.
Yeah, so Cisse was one as well. I mean, just being the all-time leading goal scorer, like you mentioned, that's got to put him up there. And apparently, it was the most he ever scored at any one club in his career. So, which is pretty good. So Auxerre's got to mean something quite special to him as well. And that was all whilst they were in Ligue 1 as well. So it wasn't like he was doing this when they were down in a lower league. So yeah, he's got to be up there. A name that you mentioned at the beginning of the show is Guy Roux, and it's not necessarily for his playing career, but more for what he achieved as a manager, and the sort of vision that he set out for the club whilst at the head of the table. I mean, he played for the club for over 12 years, but then managed them, like you said, for over 40 years in 3 different stints. So,
he overshadows everyone, really.
Yeah.
It's such a phenomenal commitment to one club. Like,
yeah,
who else has ever done anything like that?
I mean, I saw somewhere mentioning him as the sort of French Sir Alex Ferguson, but Sir Alex never even played for the club, and he didn't manage the Man United for over 40 years, for goodness sake.
Did you come across that strange story about how he became involved as manager?
No, I didn't. The article that I saw was that he was like in a bit of a war with Jean-Pierre Papin, who was taking over. Well, who was meant to be sort of taking over Auxerre as manager in about 2015-16. But Guy Roux was like completely opposed to it, and I think he stopped it from happening. So back in I think it was the early 60s, I didn't realise. I completely skipped over the fact that he played for them. But Auxerre were over in England to play a pre-season friendly. I think it was pre-season, a friendly against Crewe Alexandra. And Crewe were short on players due to injuries. So they hired a translator to speak to Auxerre to ask if they could borrow any of their players. And they actually got Guy Roux in as the translator. I'm not sure quite where he was and whether he was just on the side of the road or something. And then the Auxerre chairman, he played for Crewe. He ended up playing for Crewe, and then he got signed up. But then he wanted to become manager. So I'm a little bit confused over the actual timelines of that. But I know that I know that he was in charge for a very short period of time, and then he left because he had to do his national service. Yeah.
But then he went back and stayed there for like 36 years, which is insane. But like bringing them, they were like, I don't know, like 3rd or 4th tier in France, and he brought them all the way up to the top division, which is fantastic. In fact, what a fairy tale to bring them all the way up over such a long period of time. Win the league and the cup double, like that is incredible, really.
Yeah, I mean, although they've spent the last sort of 11 years in Ligue 2, the fact that like we sort of mentioned before about that population, the fact that they're with the tiniest sort of smallest town doing incredibly, it's like Kettering Town almost, sort of doing that well and playing that well in the Premier League.
I bet it's smaller.
It's crazy, isn't it?
I bet it's smaller.
Yeah. It's nuts. And all of that has to go down to Guy Roux. Like, and the names that he brought through, obviously Cantona, sorry to swear, Basil Bolly, Alan Gomar, the aforementioned Cisse, Philip Mexes, and Timu Tainio, one for the Spurs fans, might bring a smile to your face, which probably isn't happening after Sunday. But, they all sort of developed themselves you had to get it in there, I'm sorry, all developed themselves at youth level playing for Auxerre.
Don't forget to mention the weekend that Champions Creed.
I have. That's just like I had just written down one for the Spurs fans, but I thought I have to get a little cheeky rib in there somewhere.
I mean, don't get too excited. It's only one result.
To be honest, I've been seeing a lot of that, people saying that Arsenal fans need to calm down. But come on, man, it's the North London derby. We've got bragging rights. You've got to.
No, I'm not going to celebrate that win. You have to celebrate when you can. But don't start saying you're going to win the league.
Oh no! I'm not one of those deluded fans. And one thing that really got my sort of goat at the start of the season was that. We're 3 games in, and already people were saying that Chelsea were going to win. I think even Spurs were tipped for the title after 3 games. It's like, come on, man, we're 3 games in. Just calm down.
Let's see where everybody is after 19, and then and then after 38. Yeah. As a Leeds fan, let's definitely not judge as things are now.
Leeds will be fine, my friend. Leeds will be fine. But are you?
I feel okay. I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it.
Cool. I just talk a little bit more about Cantona. He was my 3rd pick as well, and kind of what you mentioned before, it wasn't necessarily for what he achieved at Auxerre, but more for what he achieved at Man United, really. He had a fairly decent sort of spell at Marseille as well, scored 14 out of 43, and helped them to 2 French Division 1 titles. He also helped Montpellier to a Coupe de France victory with a goal in the semi. He did quite well for that maiden season for Leeds, scoring 11 out of 20, was it?
Because we had him on loan at first, and he was mostly used as a sub.
Yeah.
I don't think he played 20 games in the first season.
Oh no, not the first. No, I meant the maiden season of the Premier League, so there would have been 92, 93. So his second stint.
I can't remember when the season he left. Because there was no January transfer window then. So
because I think I remember reading he scored only 3 goals in his first season for Leeds, and then about 10 or 11 in his second, which is quite good considering he was only there for half a season, right?
Yeah, but it was. So when did he start? I think he was almost only with us for a year or something. 12 months almost.
Yeah. So he didn't leave in January for Man United.
Because the January transfer window didn't exist then. I think you could still just make
right. I get it now.
Yeah, because I remember, if I recall correctly, we had a bit of a problem with forwards, injuries or something, at some point when we were going to win the league, and we brought him in, even though it was a bit of a punt. There's all sorts of stories about it, Who knows what to believe?
And I know, like, it puts a bit of a sour taste in the back of your mouth, but we have to talk about it. I mean, it puts one in my mouth as well, because I just despise everything about Man United. But, you know, the fact that he wasn't necessarily an out-and-out striker, and he was more of a sort of creative number 10 centre forward, but his numbers for United were phenomenal. I mean, 82 goals in 185 appearances, helping them to 4 Premier Leagues and 2 FA Cups. And his best season for them has to be that 93-94 season when he actually won the Golden Boot. And considering, like I said, he was only that sort of number 10 centre forward, he wasn't an out-and-out Alan Shearer, Andy Cole type player. He was, you know, somebody to sit a little bit deeper. For him to win the Golden Boot is, yeah, pretty impressive.
Yeah, not seen as the most industrious player in terms of running, but yeah, you know where the goal was.
Yeah, definitely. He could just produce a moment of magic. I mean, how do you still view him with a bit of disdain? Well, you almost vomited talking about him earlier, so yeah, I'm guessing that's it.
You know what? It was weird when it happened. Like, I think I was probably a bit too young to really fully understand the situation. It was a bit. I remember it being very strange and not really understanding, because it felt like, you know, I don't want to use the L word. You adored him, right? And it felt like Leeds adored him, and it felt like he was happy. And then the sale went through to Man United, and it was just like, this is a bit weird. But he was definitely more, looking back, he was definitely more of a Man United player than a Leeds player. You know, because Leeds were much more of a team. That's probably not the best way to describe. I was going to say Leeds more of a team, whereas Man United, he could be more of an individual when he was at Man United. He could be more himself. And that was that was one of the many reasons why he went there. Well, why we let him go, or however you want to put it. Yeah. You know, I mean, that karate kick was pretty disgusting. You know, I don't really think about him, to be honest. I don't think about him unless his name comes up. And then, you know, he knew where the goal was. He was incredibly arrogant and incredibly talented.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
I mean, for me, I think, you know, if I think back to my childhood, I hated him back then. But I just detested Man United as a whole.
Yeah, you're same.
Yeah, just the sort of, you know, everybody supports them as glory hunters, and, you know, they're the evil empire dark side. I don't want anything to do with them, and I don't like them. And then,
I mean, they still are, Simon.
And Eric Cantona, well, they're not winning as much, so they don't bother me as much as they used to. So get another dig in there.
They're slightly less annoying.
Yeah, exactly. But Eric Cantona was like the Darth Vader, so yeah, he
very well, good analogy.
Yeah, well, would he? No, Sir Alex would be Darth Vader, wouldn't he? I think. Oh no, would Sir Alex be the Sith Lord?
Palpatine.
Yeah,
he'd be Palpatine.
Yeah.
I don't even like say. Actually, I don't like him being. I don't like Cantona being Vader, because there was redemption at the end for Vader.
Well, that's the thing with Cantona. I would say he's kind of like, for me, this is where I was getting to, is that I kind of view him as being a bit cool now. I think maybe with that Seagulls interview that he had, I just see him as this.
Follow the trawler.
Yeah, I see him as this mad poetic.
Going to be thrown into the sea.
My God, I wasn't expecting you to rehearse the whole thing off, mate. That was brilliant.
I can remember, because I had really bizarrely in a Leeds stats book that I used to have. There was an advert on the back for something, and it had that quote on it. And it was actually mocking it. The advert was mocking it, saying something like, when you've lost your marbles, go to, I don't know, maybe a betting company or something, go to thingy for the right odds or something like that. But that interview, he said it because he was pissed. It was directed at the media, wasn't it? They were essentially fishing for scraps and stuff, and he clearly wasn't very happy and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, just because of things like that, and then like his kind of acting career, I just sort of see him as this kind of poetic sort of mad bastard. And then I really enjoyed Looking for Eric as well. I thought that was a great film, and he really sort of took the piss out of himself there, which I kind of appreciated. But yeah, for some reason I've got over that whole sort of turning up at the collar, sort of arrogant facade that he had going for him back then. I just kind of...
Let's be honest, it wasn't him that we really hated. It was the Man United fans.
Yeah, absolutely. And get rid of the past tense on that, mate. I still hate Man United fans. Even like some of my closest Man United fans who are the nicest guys, but yeah, the fact that they support Man United puts them about 10 notches down.
Oh, my best friend, like here.
Exactly. But yeah, you kind of mentioned a little bit how they are kind of getting on right now. I mean, are you able to give a bit more of an update on how they're getting on?
Well, they've had a pretty good start to the season. Well, actually, so last year they finished 6th, which is their best finish in Ligue 2 since they got relegated. They'd been mid-table. In fact, they almost got relegated about 2 or 3 years ago. And this year they're 3rd. They've only conceded 5 goals in 10 games. They've only lost 1 game. In fact, I think they lost their fourth game, and since then they've only conceded. They changed their system. Apparently, they were playing a more of a what sounds more defensive to me, 4-1-4-1, to a more of a 4-3-3, which is a lot of teams tend to play these days. More flexible wingers and overlapping and all sorts. And they've only conceded 1 goal since they made that change, and they've 4 clean sheets in 5 games, and they've won 2 or 3 of those. So they're 3rd. They're looking good. Now, their top scorer is a guy called Gaëtan Charbonnier. I don't know if I pronounced it wrong, but I don't know if he's related to the ex-goalie Lionel Charbonnier, who was there with Fabien Cool. I'm not sure if there's a relation or if it's just a coincidence because they have the same surname.
Possibly.
I haven't checked the spelling, but I don't know. That's a coincidence.
I did that with a different Auxerre player just to see if they were related to something. I can't remember who it was now.
I mean, we have no idea what is a popular surname in France. So for all I know, like Charbonnier could be one of the most common surnames. Yeah,
they seem to be getting on okay. I played. I mean, this is a fantastic sort of and a real solid note of to use just to sort of back up any realistic kind of research.
I think I know what you're going to say.
But yeah, I played FIFA the other day. And I was playing as Auxerre, and I noticed their striker at the time. I think he had quite a high rating, it was like 74 or something like that, which is quite high for a League 2 side. And I had to do a little bit of research on him as well. He scored a hell of a lot of goals for Auxerre, but then I think he was sold to Dijon. Labihon, I think his name is. Mikel Labihon.
I mean, you look at Djibril Cissé's record of 89 goals, and you've got to see that if you're a youngish striker, that's a target.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and the thing is, if it's down in League 2, not that it's going to be that much easier, but, it gives you a bit more of an opportunity to perhaps score a few more goals.
Well, this reckons he scored 24 and 55.
Yeah. So,
although with 7 assists as well, so 31 goal contributions in 55 is pretty good.
So he was there for a couple of seasons for Auxerre, and not a bad return. It just seems like a bit of a shame that he left for Dijon. And our Dijon, they're in League 2 as well. So Dijon are in League 2. So it's a bit of a step down, and really, if you think about it, for that guy.
Well, you look at how he's done at other clubs where, like Le Havre, 27 goals in 72, and then Sedan Ardennes, 10 in 70, and then he goes to Auxerre and he gets 24 and 55. Like, all of a sudden thinking, okay, this guy is in the right place for himself. And
kind of
if I've looked at those in the right order. I'm not sure if it's just listed by appearances actually now. So.
Yeah. And he's apparently yet to make an appearance for Dijon, so not great. And
No, I've got here. He's played 7.
oh right, okay.
And he scored 2.
Oh,
He's played 7 games this year and he's scored 2 goals.
oh, okay. That's not too bad.
But they're not doing very well though.
Yeah.
They've won 3 and lost 4.
So that's what makes me think it's a bit of a step down for him. I mean, yeah, that's the thing.
He's 31. Maybe they offered a bit of money and they thought he's 31.
Like on Facebook, follow on Twitter, subscribe to YouTube, do all that shit,
Who were the? I know you mentioned Charbonnier. Were there any other sort of names that sort of stick out for you that are quite impressive?
No, I've not really heard of. I've not heard of anyone really that's there.
Because I looked up, there was this guy called Hamza Saki, who seems to be like a bit of a big player for them. Is he what? Sorry?
He's Moroccan.
Yes, he was pretty close to joining Toulouse in the summer. And it looked pretty close that he was going to go there, but it's quite good, and they managed to keep hold of him.
Are Toulouse in the 2nd division?
Yeah, they are. I was going to say I should have gone with my gut feeling then, because I just haven't seen Toulouse in Ligue 1 for a while. And they're a club as well, they're, real sort of big historic club. Maybe we should do a Magic of on them one day. But,
I think that was one of the 3. That was one of the 3 teams.
Yeah, it could have been actually. They're a club that have really interesting colours for their club. Like I don't know. Can you think of any other teams that have that sort of lilac and white combination?
Well, Fiorentina is the only team I can think of that purple. Because it's not a colour that we use in this country, is it?
No.
The football teams use in this country.
No.
Do you know what? I think I might have made a bit of an error. I mentioned that they've Auxerre this season changed the system and then conceded once. Maybe one of these is a cup game, but actually they've only conceded once in 6 games since that defeat.
Nice. So they
had a man sent off in one of those as well.
They drew at the weekend, didn't they?
Against Sochaux.
Yeah. So, but Sochaux are 2nd, so. There's no.
And they're away as well.
Yeah. I'd say Auxerre, Sochaux, and Toulouse are the ones, and Ajaccio as well. They look to be the ones to look out for promotion.
I mean, the thing that's a bit frustrating there is I think only 2 teams. Did only 2 teams go up, and then do they have a playoff as well? I think the top team goes up, and then the next 4 do like playoffs, but I'm not sure if they have a playoff with another team in the top division or something.
Yeah, there are leagues that do that, aren't they? So it's like the is it the last place team of the top league or something like that?
Second to last.
Yeah, but that would be unfair to the.
They used to do it in Scotland. They still do it in Scotland. That's terrible that I don't know that.
We need to clue up on our facts a bit more. We should know more stuff. But yeah.
Oh, so here we go. A Ligue 1 relegation promotion playoffs. They're contested by the 18th place in Ligue 1 and the 3rd place team in Ligue 2.
Favourite kit? I will put them up on the screen so we can go through these.
So. I've got to say, one that really stood out, which has only just occurred to me, that it looks similar to a Chelsea kit. If I'm picking one kit, I quite like the away kit from '93.
Nice.
It's Commodore sponsorship, and it's got, I don't know how to describe it, sort of 2 different colour blues, and they're sort of like diagonal zigzags throughout the whole...
It's like an optical illusion, isn't it? And I'll put this up on the screen so the viewers...
I'm not sure who the make... Oh, Sport. Made it.
Nice.
Yeah, I quite like that one. And then I'm not gonna lie, I prefer their away kits because some of their sponsorship is very strange on the kit. I quite like the 99 home shirt that was made by Adidas. It's just a plain white.
Yeah.
With some like blue lines on it. Yeah, and then there's a third kit from O2, a nice orange one made by Kappa.
Nice.
I just quite like orange. That's cool.
I think like any of their kits from 99 to 2007, just for the fact they were sponsored by PlayStation and PS2. I mean, like game sponsors were brilliant because obviously Fiorentino, are they still sponsored by Nintendo? No, they're not. Can't be. Now, what am I talking about? But they were once sponsored by Nintendo. That was great. And then obviously Dreamcast sponsoring Arsenal at one point.
Oh God, what? Apparently they got 100 million for that.
Really?
I think it was 100 million. It was some mentally insane.
What
number.
Arsenal did, or so?
Yeah. Because it used to be, it wasn't just on the shirts, was it? It was all over the boards, sponsorship boards, and almost every Arsenal thing that went out, it always said like sponsored by Sega Dreamcast.
Yeah.
But one, if I remember, was it the home shirt that said Dreamcast and the away shirt said Sega? Did they do it like that? Or something?
I think so, or it might have been just different seasons. That one was.
Because the Dreamcast, the Dreamcast unfortunately didn't last as long as it should have done.
Yeah, I think so. But I might be wrong. I should be able to tell you because I've got this massive book on the Arsenal shirt. So yeah, I'll have a look through that and I'll let you know.
The Dreamcast for me is it holds a special place in my heart. I still have mine. It's actually not very far away from me right now.
Just nice.
Just down there.
I remember the days of playing Soul Calibur and virtual tennis. I mean, yeah. They will live long in the memory.
Lovely times.
Yes.
Lovely memory.
Indeed. But yeah, just want to mention one last thing. That 2019 20 kit, as you can see, viewers, it's just an absolute thing of beauty. And it's actually tempted me into a cheeky little purchase.
Yeah, it does look nice. There's something about it, isn't it? It does look very different to the rest of them. Have you seen the third kit? It's black, all black.
Is that with the stripes down the side?
No, all black with the cuff on the sleeve is white with a white collar.
Yeah.
And it's just got the little Macron man, and then it's got a strange white
cross,
which I'm guessing is some sort of retro badge.
I think it's just the Auxerre. So if you look at Auxerre, it's crest.
It's like the city or the town crest. I think it is a city.
Yeah.
I'm going with it being a city.
Well, on Wikipedia it's calling it a town.
It's the White Maltese Cross. They used it when the club was founded in 1905.
Okay. Yeah, because it's on the Auxerre badge.
In fact, I hadn't noticed. It actually says 1905 just beneath it, very faintly. It's actually pretty cool. I mean, it looks like.
From a distance, it would look like I wonder what colour the shorts are. It looks like a
polo shirt.
It looks like a referee kit.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. My gosh. Of course. Now you've said it. Yeah.
But if they had white shorts, maybe that would look quite cool. But
you surely would have to.
Yeah, but then again, the away kit has white shorts, so it's. No, it's black. So it's all black. It's a picture here. I'll put up a picture. But yeah, it's it is a lovely kit. But yeah, for me, the home and away kits are things of beauty.
I don't know if you've seen their current away kit. It looks like, in fact, their away kit looks like an Ipswich Town home kit, and their home kit looks like an Ipswich Town away kit.
Is that the one with the sort of faint stripes? Almost hoops.
Yeah, the home's got the very thin stripes, whereas the away kit is blue with white sleeves.
Yeah, with the sort of faint hoops. So it's like darker tones and lighter tones of blue. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I like Macron as a kit sponsor, kit provider, should I say? Do some nice kits.
They made some nice Leeds kits, but they also made some not so nice ones.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, it always happens, isn't it? You're never going to like every kit.
No. But I mean, just as the colours in general, I mean, it's nothing too sort of daring, but just that the white and that sort of lighter shaded blue.
It being simple but being different.
There's a lot you can do with that, I think.
Yeah. You look at the difference between that 1920 and that 2021 kit, and you wouldn't necessarily say they were the same team.
Right, Ollie, it's been an absolute pleasure, my friend, to talk to you about Auxerre. And I apologise to all of the French listeners and people that are probably like massive fans of Auxerre that are listening to this and thinking we've got so many things wrong. And it's mostly me if I've got things wrong as well. But yeah, we gave it a go. And I just found it really interesting, just finding out as much about the club as possible. And like you say, even figuring out that, Laurent Blanc and players like that played for Auxerre was really cool.
Thanks, Simon. It was interesting.
Yeah, man. Definitely. No worries at all. And
I look forward to Toulouse.
Yeah, Toulouse, but I want to go to Italy first, and we're going to check out Pescara Calcio.
Sounds good.
Mostly because their kit was just divine. I can't remember which season it was, but it was not even an away kit, it was like their 4th special kit. And it was really interesting, the story behind it as well. They did like a competition.
This was the special one that's got like a dolphin on it.
Yeah, and a rainbow. So it was just I think like just a school competition, and the kid just designed this school kit, this football kit, and he won it, and they turned it into a professional football kit, which is awesome.
Yeah, it does look like.
Looks like a kid,
exactly. Yeah, it does. But the fact that they actually went through and did it, and that getting like kids involved in things is great.
Definitely.
What a connection! That child is never going to forget that.
Do you remember those?
And like the school.
Sorry, do you remember those competitions at school where we I remember one we had to design a car, and it was for like a competition. I don't know if that car would have actually been produced, but
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
that sounds weird.
It was like design tech. It was just like you.
Are you getting confused with that episode of The Simpsons where Homer makes that car with the bubble and all that on it?
No, I'm pretty sure in design tech, Mr. Smith. I'm sure he was leading the class at the time, and he said, it might have just been a prank. But
on you?
Yeah, on me. Yeah. But yeah, I do remember having to sort of draw some cars, and it was for the future. And yeah, who knows? Maybe I designed the Ford car, KA. Who knows, Ollie? It's possible.
I can imagine. I'm going to tell people you did that. I'll start a rumour. See if it gets back to you.
Cool. Anyway, thanks again, my man.
No worries. I'll see you soon. Take care of yourself.
You too, man. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Triple F. If you could please drop a like on our Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter, that would be massively appreciated. Hope you're all keeping safe, and thanks again for listening to the Triple F.